The first person who finds out you're doing well financially usually doesn't cost you anything. The second person doesn't either. The third person is where the costs start to increase. You don't know this yet. Right now, you're just looking at a group chat. Someone sends a link. Tulum. 6 people, 1 house, 4 nights. You type, "Yeah, I'm in," before you even open the link. Then somebody adds, "Bro, you got this right, you're the responsible one now." A laughing emoji after it. Nobody's asking for your bank balance. Nobody even thinks they're asking anything. But you just answered a question you didn't know, got sent. You think this is about the trip. It's not. $3,200 sitting in a checking account. East Austin, a room you split with 2 roommates, $650 a month. The kitchen smells like whatever Marisol cooked the night before. You don't mind it. You've never minded it. Nobody in your life knows the number. Not your roommates, not your parents, not the group chat that just watched you say yes to Tulum like it was nothing. The app is buried in a folder on your second home screen. Not hidden exactly. Just not where anyone borrowing your phone for a photo would land on it by accident. You check it the way you check a wound. Carefully, hoping it's smaller than you remember. It's not bad, it's just thin. Paychecks land on the 15th and the 30th. Groceries are Trader Joe's, generic when generic exists, name brand when it doesn't. You've got a $400 emergency fund you started in March and haven't touched. You're proud of that in a way you'd never say out loud. Nobody's watching at this level. Not because they don't care, because they don't know there's anything to watch. You can spend $40 on a dinner with a friend or skip it for ramen at home, and either way, nothing in the room shifts. No one recalibrates, no one remembers it later. You're financially invisible, and invisible, at this stage, feels a lot like free. You don't notice this freedom while you have it. You'll only recognize it later, looking back, the way you recognize quiet after the noise starts. Right now, you're just someone saying yes to a trip you can technically afford and definitely shouldn't be excited about paying for. The rule at this level is simple, and it's the only thing that's simple about any of this. Nobody asking is the same as nobody caring. It's just that nobody knows yet. The Tulum group chat is back, this time about money. Someone says the house needs a deposit by Friday. $800, split 6 ways, due before anyone's gotten paid. You don't think about it, you just send the whole $800 yourself. I'll Venmo request everyone after, you type. Nobody questions it. Why would they? You're the one with your card already out. 3 people pay you back within a week. 1 pays you back a month later, after you ask twice, gently, with a laughing emoji so it doesn't feel like a real ask. 1 never pays you back at all. You never bring it up again. You didn't say a number, you didn't tell anyone your balance. But you just showed 5 people something true about you anyway. You're the one who can float it. You're the one who doesn't blink. Nobody asked what's in your account. They didn't need to. The transaction told them, this is the first leak. It doesn't sound like a leak. It sounds like generosity, like convenience, like you being a good friend who happened to have your card out first. Nobody in that chat thinks of it as information. They just felt something shift. The way you feel a room get warmer without anyone touching the thermostat. $11,400 is in your account now. You got a small raise in March. You're contributing to a Roth IRA for the first time, $200 a month. Automatic, the kind of thing your older cousin told you to do at Thanksgiving, and you only half listened to until you actually did it. You feel good about the number. Quietly good. The kind of good you don't post about. But something has started that you can't undo by staying quiet next time. The story is already out there, sitting in 5 people's heads, filed away the way people file these things, without meaning to, without trying, just automatically. He's the one who covers it. Life looks the same as it did at 24. Same apartment, same roommates, same grocery list. But money doesn't have to be said out loud to be heard. The first leak is never a sentence, it's a transaction nobody questions. Your friend Devin throws you a birthday dinner. 8 people, a restaurant downtown, the kind with cloth napkins and a wine list nobody at the table actually understands. Somewhere between the appetizers and the entrees, Devin brings up your raise, not quietly, across the whole table. Wait, didn't you just get bumped up like 15%? That's insane, man. You laugh it off. You say something like, it's not that crazy, which is true, and also doesn't matter, because the number's already in the air now. 8 people just did quiet math in their heads. You watch 2 of them glance at each other. You're not sure what the glance means. You're pretty sure you don't want to know. The check comes. Nobody suggests splitting it evenly this time. Somebody just says, you got the extra bottle, right? Not a question, really. More like a fact being confirmed. You got the extra bottle. $24,800 in your accounts now, between the Roth IRA and savings and what's sitting in checking. You're doing fine. Genuinely fine. You could afford that bottle 10 times over. But here's what you notice on the drive home, and it's small enough that you almost don't catch it. You didn't think about whether you wanted the extra bottle. You thought about whether saying no would feel strange. Those are different questions. You used to only ask the first one. Nothing forced you to grab that check. No one pressured you. You just felt for half a second like refusing would be inconsistent with whatever everyone at that table now believed about you. So you didn't refuse. The pattern's already running by the time the group picks a restaurant for the next birthday. It's a notch nicer than the one before. Nobody discusses this out loud. It's just where the chat lands when someone drops a link and 3 people react with a thumbs up before you even see it. You check your banking app differently now. Not out of fear, like you used to. You check it to see if you're good for whatever's coming next. The app went from a mirror to a permission slip. That's the shift, and it happened so quietly you'd swear nothing happened at all. You didn't change your spending. You changed what felt embarrassing to refuse. Your mom calls on a Tuesday. Nothing urgent in her voice. She's just telling you about her week. Somewhere in the middle of it, she mentions the car. The transmission's going. The shop quoted her $1,800 and she doesn't have it right now, not with the property tax bill that just came in too. She's not asking. You want to be clear about that because it matters. She's just talking. The way she talks about anything else, the weather, your aunt's hip, the neighbor's new fence. But there's a pause after she says the number. A short one. Maybe 2 seconds. It didn't used to be there. You feel it. I got it, Mom. Don't worry about it. She says thank you in a voice that's a little different than her regular thank you. Lighter somehow, like she'd been carrying the sentence for longer than the phone call. You wire the money that night. $61,000 across your accounts now. A raise behind you. A promotion title that actually means something on paper. $1,800 doesn't move anything in your life. But the pause moves something. You just can't name what yet. You start writing answers in your head before anyone asks the question. You're in line at the grocery store and you think, if someone asked me right now how I'm doing financially, I'd say, doing okay, can't complain. Not the truth, not a lie either, just the version that fits. You're not lying to anyone. Nobody's even in the room. You're rehearsing for a conversation that hasn't happened yet, with a version of yourself that has to sound consistent no matter who's asking. That wasn't happening at 24. At 24, there was nothing to rehearse because nobody had a model of you to check your answer against. Now you've got one. Your mom has one. Devin has one. The old roommates from East Austin have one, even though you barely see them anymore. You built it for them without trying. One Venmo request you forgot to send, one bottle of wine, one wire transfer at 11 at night. You didn't hand anyone a number. You handed them a map instead. And you didn't even notice you were drawing it. You handed them a map. You didn't mean to. Maps get used either way. You're $2,000 away from 6 figures. You know the exact number because you checked it 4 times this week, which is more than you've checked it in the last 4 months combined. The group chat is still alive, quieter now, but alive. Someone posts about hitting a savings milestone of their own, $50,000, and gets a wave of fire emojis and let's go responses. You think about posting yours. You actually open the message box. You type almost at 100K, and you look at it sitting there, unsent, cursor blinking after it. You don't send it. You're not totally sure why, not at first. It's not modesty exactly. It's something closer to a memory. The extra bottle of wine. The pause on the phone with your mom. The answer you'd already rehearsed in the grocery line before anyone asked for it. You delete the message. You put the phone down. You sit with the math instead, alone, the way you used to sit with it at 24 before anyone knew there was math to sit with. This is the moment. If there's one moment in this whole story that matters more than the others, this is it. You don't get a parade for this decision. There's no instant reward. The $98,000 doesn't grow faster because you kept your mouth shut. But something stops. The floor that kept inching up every time someone learned a little more about you doesn't reverse. You can't undo the extra bottle of wine. You can't take back the wire transfer to your mom. That floor is built. It's load-bearing now. People expect a version of you that covers things, that doesn't blink, that's doing good. But the floor stops rising tonight. That's the whole victory. Not erasing what's already there, just refusing to add another floor on top of it. You open a separate account a week later. A high-yield savings account, a different bank than the one you use for everything else, no debit card attached to it, nothing linked to Venmo. You move $4,000 into it and you don't tell a single person it exists. It feels strange. Almost like guilt, except you haven't done anything wrong. You've just done something nobody can see for the first time in 6 years. Going quiet doesn't undo what's already out. It just stops the bleeding. Silence doesn't erase the floor you already built. It just stops it from rising. Devin gets married. You're a groomsman. The bachelor party is in Nashville 4 nights, and somehow, without anyone deciding it out loud, you end up covering the Airbnb upgrade so the place has a pool. $340 more than the original booking. Nobody asked you directly. Someone just said the place with the pool is only a little more. You're cool fronting it, right? And the sentence wasn't really a question by the time it landed. You front it. Of course, you front it. You're the one who's doing well. That sentence got written about you years ago, at a dinner table, over a bottle of wine you don't even remember the taste of. 2 weeks later, someone in the group chat sends a Venmo request for a wedding gift. Group gift, split 9 ways, $40 each. You see it. You don't send the money right away. Not because $40 matters. It doesn't. You leave it sitting there, unread on purpose for 3 days. You tell yourself you forgot. You didn't forget. You're tired of something else. You're tired of being the name on every list before anyone checks if you're free, before anyone asks if you're in. You're just assuming. Automatically included. Automatically good for it. Sunday night, scrolling through unread messages before bed, you see the request again. You send the $40 without really thinking about it this time, the way you pay any bill you've decided not to fight. Nobody notices the 3 days. Nobody ever finds out you almost let it sit there longer. It wasn't a stand. It wasn't even really a decision. It was just 3 days of quietly not wanting to, followed by doing it anyway, the way most of these things actually go. You went quiet at 30. You stopped posting milestones. You built a separate account nobody knows about, growing untouched the way you wanted it to. The floor from 25 to 28 never went away though. It's still here, still load-bearing, still expecting the version of you that fronts pools and pays the group gift without anyone having to ask twice. $210,000 across your accounts now. A good job. Real equity. A 401k you've maxed the match on since 26. You're doing better than almost anyone you grew up with. And you're still paying a tax nobody bills you for directly. Call it $490 a month. The extra bottle, the slightly nicer Airbnb, the gift you always send because not sending it would mean explaining yourself to 9 people in a group chat. None of it shows up as one bill. It shows up as 40 here, 60 there. At 7% average annual return, compounded over 20 years, $490 a month becomes roughly $255,000. Gone. Not to a crash. Gone to 100 small yeses from a version of you that stopped knowing how to say no around the time you turned 26. Going quiet stopped new floors from forming. It never touched the one already poured. The ratchet doesn't reset, it just stops climbing the moment you stop feeding it. A woman named Priya reaches out on LinkedIn. She's building something small, 4 people right now, a logistics analytics startup, and she wants you in as the 5th. The salary is $71,000, less than you're making now, a lot less. But there's real equity, not the kind that sounds good in a pitch deck and means nothing. The kind her lawyer actually drew up, vested over 4 years. A stake that could be worth nothing or could be worth more than anything your current job will ever pay you. You sit with the offer for 6 days. The money math is the easy part. $480,000 across your accounts, the quiet one included, sitting at almost $90,000 on its own after 8 years of nobody knowing it existed. You could survive on $71,000 without strain. You ran the numbers twice to be sure. What you didn't expect is the other thing this offer forces you to look at. You realize somewhere around day 4 that nobody in your life has ever expected you to make less. Not once. Not at 26. Not at 30, not at 33, with the pool in Nashville. Every year, the number went up, and everyone around you quietly absorbed that as the rule. You go up, you don't go sideways, you definitely don't go down. They don't just expect your money, they expect your trajectory. A bigger title, a bigger number, a bigger version of the thing you already are. Taking a pay cut for equity in a company nobody's heard of isn't just a financial decision to the people who know you. It reads like a contradiction, like you're undoing something they thought was settled. You call your mom before you accept the offer. Not to ask permission, to explain. You tell her the salary's dropping for a while. You hear the pause again, the same kind from 10 years ago, except this time you don't fill it with reassurance. You let it sit there a second longer than feels comfortable. It'll be tight for a bit, you say. I'm okay with that. She says okay. She means it mostly. There's a small adjustment happening on her end too. A floor coming down half an inch, and it costs something for both of you. You take the job. You can do this because of the quiet account from level 5, the one that never knew about Tulum, or the pool, or the bottle of wine at Devon's birthday. That account bought you the right to say yes to something smaller. But on the drive home, you understand something you didn't understand when you opened that account at 30. Going quiet protected your money. It never protected your story. People built a version of you that only moves in one direction. And walking away from that version costs something no spreadsheet line item can hold. You bought back half your freedom. The other half was already spent at 26, the night you stopped being allowed to shrink. The startup worked. Not in the dramatic way movies make it look. Priya's company got acquired in year 6, not a headline kind of deal, just a quiet one, the kind that shows up in a trade publication nobody you know reads. Your equity turned into something real, combined with 8 years of an account nobody ever knew existed, growing untouched. You cross $1,100,000 on a Tuesday morning. You find out by accident, refreshing an app before a meeting. You don't tell anyone. Not because you're hiding it, because there's nothing left in you that wants to. Devon throws another dinner that year. Different restaurant, same kind of crowd, some new faces, some old ones aged into their 40s along with you. Someone newer, someone who doesn't know the history, asks the question. Almost word for word, from a birthday dinner 17 years ago. So how are things going, money-wise? You seem like you're doing well. You smile. You think about the answer for exactly as long as it takes to pick up your water glass. Doing fine, you say. Can't complain. Nobody pushes. The conversation moves on within 30 seconds, the way conversations do when nothing's offered up to chew on. You order from the middle of the menu, not because you're watching the cost, but because nothing about tonight requires you to prove anything to the 8 people at this table. You pick up the check eventually. Same as always. This time, it doesn't feel like maintaining anything. It just feels like a nice thing to do for people you've known for 2 decades. On the drive home, you stop for gas. $47.12. You tap your card. Same motion you've made 1,000 times. Same sound. Same receipt curling out of the slot. It's the exact same motion you made at 24. The night you had $3,200 and a folder hiding your banking app from anyone who borrowed your phone. You stand there for a second longer than you need to. Most of your life wasn't changed by money. It was changed by what people decided the money meant. Wealth changes your options. Other people's knowledge of your wealth changes your obligations. Nobody warns you that those are two different accounts, growing at two different speeds, and only one of them was ever yours to control. Money compounds. Expectations compound faster. You get back in the car. The number in your account is real, and it's yours, and almost nobody alive has an accurate guess at what it actually is. That, more than the number itself, is the part that finally feels like winning. Somewhere right now, in a different city, a different group chat lights up, somebody shares a link, a house, a handful of nights, a number split 6 ways. Someone types, "Yeah, I'm in," before they even open it. Someone else adds a joke about who's covering the deposit. They don't know yet what that sentence is going to cost. They won't know for years. Nobody ever does. Not at the moment it happens. It just feels like being a good friend, like saying yes, like nothing at all. The chat is still open. Someone is always about to type yes.